Good evening. It's 8 o'clock in Istanbul and 1 o'clock in Florida. Tonight, before I welcome our special guest, I would like to welcome all our students, all our academicians. Good evening. It's 8 o'clock in Istanbul. I'm sorry. And 1 o'clock in Florida. I forgot to. Tonight, before I welcome our special guest, I'm sorry about it. Welcome. Okay, I forgot to mute our. We are also live on our YouTube channel, and I forgot to mute the YouTube channel. I'm sorry, so that was a repetition of my voice. I'd like to welcome our students, our academicians, and professionals from the field, and those who are related or not, who are interested in the topic. Welcome all. And Mr. Forakis, welcome. Thank you for being with us tonight, but I should say today, in the middle of the day. Thank you very much.
That's right. Yes, thank you, Osman. Really great to be here. Hello to everybody. I'm in sunny Miami, so a bit different climate right now.
Even though you warned me, I said Florida. I'm sorry about it. You are in Miami right now.
Yeah, Miami, Florida. That's right.
Okay, now I just asked where you are. And you are in your hotel room, and probably you should check out right now, but probably you have a little bit of time checking out late.
I've asked the front desk to delay my checkout for late checkout, so hopefully we won't get interrupted.
So where are you heading to?
Today I head to New York, where I have I'm originally from New York, but I have a satellite studio there, and I will do some business and also see my family, my mother, my sister. It's my sister's birthday, so we will have a family celebration.
Yeah, have a nice birthday. So please congratulate her in the name of the editorial board of INDA. Before we start, I would like to give a brief explanation about what INDA is. INDA is an e-journal which is published twice a year. It is the only academic and peer-reviewed magazine in the field of interior architecture and academy in Turkey. And it's not only a journal, but also a platform of ideas and sharing ideas as well. And due to that goal, tonight we are having an online interview with Jozeph FORAKIS, who is a very well-known, renowned designer. Mr. FORAKIS, can we know a little bit about you and your also design process and your studios both in Milan, right?
That's right. My main studios in Milan. We have a multidisciplinary team in Milan. And as I just mentioned, I'm originally from New York City, born and raised in New York City and a little bit all over the States. Also still have a satellite studio in New York where I'll spend the next week or so, 10 days, before heading back to Milan. So I've been in Milan over 20 years, let's say. And now it's my primary home.
Yeah, so, but also you lecture in Domus or Naba, as I don't know, when you were in Istanbul, you were also lecturing in Naba or?
That's right. Naba, Nuova Accademia di Belle Arti. I have a second semester for the second year master's students in product design. I teach a one semester course in product and service design. I've been teaching the second semester there regularly for the last, I think this is the 8th year. And Domus Academy, I lecture there occasionally. I originally went to Milan from New York in order to get my master's degree at Domus Academy. And as they say, the rest is history. I ended up staying there, where now I occasionally teach and lecture. In fact, the end of last year, straddling the beginning of this year, I did a 5-6 week workshop at Domus Academy.
Great. And how was your, how did you initialize your studio, and what were your previous or maybe the first designs that you did, and what are the designs that made you worldwide renowned designer?
Well, thank you. I'm not so sure about that part, but I got my undergraduate at Rhode Island School of Design, also studying industrial design, even though I entered for architecture but ended up changing. where I worked in mainly, well, I worked as in the professional off-Broadway theater for a while as set and lighting designer and also technical director. I got a lot of interesting experiences in the arts before I focused more on industrial design and worked in biomedic research fields, very technical areas, because I've always been very passionate about technology, about new materials and manufacturing techniques. That's kind of an ongoing line of research, let's say, that informs a lot of my thinking, informs a lot of my design. And then I reached a kind of a plateau working in the New York metropolitan area and living in New York City, where I wanted to kind of explore new ideas, maybe change scenery. And that's when I discovered Domus Academy in Milan. And I thought about applying. There was a scholarship competition. I ended up winning a partial scholarship to go to Domus Academy in the 90s. And yeah, well, by the time I discovered that I won the partial scholarship, I had already convinced myself I had to go. So I sold everything that I owned in order to raise the money and kind of begged, borrowed, and steal in order to make it work for my master's studies abroad. So coming to Italy, not knowing anybody, not knowing the language was very exciting.
Italian is an easy language, so you don't have difficulty.
Yeah, well, some easy for some people. I'm not so good with languages, to be honest.
Okay.
But then I did my master's studies, and then afterwards got involved with the research center of Domus Academy, which was a kind of a consulting studio slash design think tank, where the whole concept design thinking and kind of experimenting how design processes and thought processes can be used to give added value, not necessarily just on commercial terms, but also cultural terms. And this balance between commercial and culture, I've always thought was one of the positive aspects that Italian design brings to the world. And that was the kind of hook or epiphany for me, why I became interested in staying in Italy.
Great. And how about your adventure? As far as I recall, when from those times that you were in Istanbul, you are the designer of this Motorola mobile phone, which is twisting. Also, you design lots of swatches.
Yeah. If you like, I can share the screen and kind of show
please. Yes,
some.
please. We would love to. Yes, please.
A presentation that I've put
please.
together. So, can you see the screen? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, thank you, everybody. I hope this is okay. So, my studio, Jozeph FORAKIS Design, is based mainly in design, as I say, with a satellite in New York City. Let's see. Maybe it's interesting to. Okay. Anyway. And it's a multidisciplinary design studio with a strategic focus, focusing on these kind of key areas. Always at the center is industrial design, but over the years, because of my interest in high technology, we also developed a competency in UI UX experience design, a focus on new technology applications, and a strong interest and ongoing research in new materials and manufacturing techniques. We're working with companies from different scales and really all over the world, partnering with some leading brands and innovators, but also from startups all the way up to Fortune 500. There we go. When I talk about strategic design, this is a kind of a map to illustrate what I call this cross-fertilization process, which is a synthesis of creative and analytical thinking, allowing us to strategically focus and approach a wide range of projects, which I'll give you a little bit of a taste here. When I talk about strategic design, one of the things I like to illustrate is at the early stage of the process, we try to guide and work iteratively together with our clients to create a clear picture of the company culture. This could be the history, the milestones, the people involved, their successes and failures, and also their core competencies. What are they good at inside the company? And as we're investigating this, in parallel, we also investigate the potential of the market, the challenges, but also the opportunities of the market. And what I think in terms of authenticity, it means designing in this area where these two worlds overlap. We have the most unique aspects, the core authenticity of the company overlapping with the potential of the market. And this becomes the opportunity for targeted strategic innovation. And once we work with companies to identify this vision of core values, then we go to the next step, which is building out the division according to the brief. So we've solidified this vision of core values, and then we can leverage that around this entire cycle, what I call the cycle of innovation, which is also what I like to think of as a brand ecosystem, which is divided into two halves, above the hard innovation and below the soft innovation. Here we can look in detail at everything. If you consider this iterative cycle going around in a clockwise motion, everything that becomes that has to be done before the creation of the product or service or product and service experiences goes into this area of innovation, ethnographic research, technical research and development, engineering, manufacturing. These are all areas for creating strategic advantages. Some companies emphasize this more than others. And then there's the creation of the product or service itself, and we start getting into the realm of the user experience, the things that the market touches and feels and experiences: product design, interaction design, packaging design. And packaging design, of course, crosses over into some aspects of what I call the soft innovation, things that you can't measure so much, things that are much more experiential. And so these three bubbles, product experiences, retail experiences, communication experiences, divided into hard innovation and soft innovation, this becomes a kind of a map for further in-depth exploration with the company, showing their examples of successes and failures, benchmarking them with their direct or indirect competitors, and also looking down the road at new realities. And anywhere around this map, this compass, this ecosystem, we can come up with new project briefs, new opportunities for innovation. If I go forward and just so quickly, I will try to show quickly some of my inspirations and experiences of the past and recent past. My first major project after I decided to stay in Italy was a collaboration with Foscarini, which our first project together resulted in the Havana lamp, which has become a successful icon for the company, helping them move from a company focused on Murano traditional glass, hand-blown glass from Venice, into new areas of experimentation with unusual modern materials and material languages. I was also very lucky that this lamp was accepted into the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Art. I'm sorry.
So it is still being exhibited in MoMA.
Well, Museum of Modern Art has a very large collection.
Is that me that the connect?
I'm sorry? Can you hear me?
I think I have a weak connection. Is that me? Can someone text in the message box? Is that me?
Can you hear me okay?
I barely can hear you.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, it is okay now. Yeah.
Okay. I apologize if maybe the hotel connection is a bit unstable.
Okay.
Well, the Museum of Modern Art, of course, has a very large collection. So just because something is in the collection does not mean necessarily it's always on display. Of course, I'm
But
happy
it
to
is
say
in the collection.
it's in the collection.
Yeah, good.
But I have a long experience and relationship with Foscarini. This is the cloud lamp where I was. This is produced in the early 2000s, and this is a fully functional adjustable table lamp where I created a mechanism using just one spring to have infinite adjustability for the arm and for the head. Tivu was a
Just
wall
one
lamp.
string.
Tivu was a wall lamp where I was kind of expressing my obsession, my childhood obsession with television. But I've always thought that the cathode ray tube, the old-fashioned cathode ray tube, was a beautiful object, and I wanted to highlight that and make it the kind of hero of the project. Then more recently, we were asked by LG Electronics, which has a high-tech lighting division, to use some of their high-tech illumination technology similar to OLED technology for a collection of technological lighting.
Which year is that?
This is early 2000s. I'm sorry, I
Joseph,
don't.
can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me okay? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, now I can hear you. I just heard you saying hello. Joseph, did you hear the question? What year was that? I didn't I didn't get the answer.
This was
There is a
early,
misconnection.
maybe 2007, I want to say 2005, 2007
So it's
probably.
almost 15 years ago. So there were
Yeah.
no OLED technologies those years. Okay.
No, but that's why this
Okay.
is Aleph. It was a technology that was derived from LG's leadership in LCD screen technology. Um, Also, I've worked in furniture design. Magis was a collaboration that started some time ago. This is a room divider screen based on a modular concept of extruded, shock-resistant acrylic elements with co-extruded flexible elements, which creates a modular system for a room divider screen, which can also be used for creating office workspaces, because we have a two-way connector and also a three-way connector to make kind of joints and corners, let's say. Spin table for MEB, I think, illustrates my ongoing interest and research in materials and manufacturing techniques. This is a round, solid wood table, but created by taking a very thin 1 millimeter strip of wood, in this case, a walnut wood, and wrapping it concentrically around an aluminum core, of course, gluing it up continuously, and then finally smoothing it out, laminating it. And so it's kind of like a deconstructed tree trunk.
Yeah.
You can wrap more or less to have different size tree.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is it's every table is unique. For Dune, New York-based company, I created Spectre, which is a lounge chair, which is visually very light and sleek and kind of seamless. I think seamlessness is a kind of an obsession of mine, and you can see this kind of realized in these closed loop legs. But the interesting thing about the legs is that the profile is angled at a 45-degree angle. So visually, as you move around the object, the legs kind of turn inside and outside and change three-dimensionally in space as you move around. Also, home accessories and products. Osman, I think you know this object.
I know. And please, before you explain what it is, let me please tell my beautiful memory about it. Dear attendees, when Joseph and I, we are almost 20 years, we are friends. Not 20 years maybe, but more than 10 years. And it was the first time he was in Istanbul at a conference, at a symposium, and he was a keynote speaker. And while he was presenting his works, this marvelous design was one of his works, of course, those times. And when he ended up with explaining what it is, the audience at the auditorium, it was around 200 people, they had to clap because no one was expected that kind of an end. And right now, okay, please, Joseph, keep on telling what it is.
Yeah, I think I designed the presentation differently then, because first I showed the picture on the left and I asked the audience to guess what it was.
Yeah, what it was, yeah.
But as you see in the slide and the description, it's the name of the product is called Tape Timer, and it's using the concept of measuring time the same way that you use a carpenter's tape measure.
Yeah.
So literally you have a spool of metal tape inside attached to a simple wind-up clock mechanism. And when you pull on the ring, you're winding the clock and extending it out to 60 minutes. And then immediately it starts ticking down and rewinding the spool slowly. After 60 minutes, the alarm will go off. Also, there's a wheel on the bottom. So after you pull it out to wind the mechanism, you can kind of tickle the bottom underneath to adjust the amount of time that you want to measure. And the interesting thing for me is it kind of puts together this world of interaction design, experience design, and physical product design in a kind of an expression that is very interactive, where the interaction of the person is very important to bring the object to life.
It's not for me to congratulate, but since we are friends, please accept my greetings on this genius design.
Thank you. This was in the Museum of Modern Art store for many years.
Really?
In a similar way, this thing that I call the design of behavior, the design of gestures, the president and owner of Kiekerland, Jan van der Land, who has become an old friend, he wanted a miniature flashlight, and he sent me some examples from the competitors. So I had an idea of how small it had to be, really very, very small. And my first step in the process was not taking my pen or pencil and drawing images, as is common. I really made some mock-ups of something around this size and held it in my hand, and I wanted to feel it and find what is the right gesture to activate, to turn on and off something so small that it's really too small to have buttons. So I came up with the idea of squeezing or pushing on and squeezing and pushing off. Also, this idea of design of gesture shows up in the design for ballo. Ballo in Italian means dance. This is a simple, humble toilet brush, really one of the most humble objects you can imagine. Yeah. But the fun thing about it is that when you use it, he kind of wags his tail. He kind of wobbles, is kind of eagerly playful but also very functional, waiting for you to use him. As mentioned, I've also worked a lot in high-tech areas, consumer electronics, mobile products, and wearability. Mm-hmm. I've always been really fascinated with watches, and I had the opportunity in the late 90s to collaborate with Swatch, first starting with small bits and pieces, and then finally they gave me the opportunity to design the entire watch, all the bits, the case, the details, the straps, the buttons, the crowns, the buckles, even the packaging. And the first global watch design that I did was what is now the kind of very iconic Irony Scuba 200. 200 means it's tested to 200 meters. And the success of these early watch projects with Swatch led to them giving me the opportunity to design the world's first watch phone, the Swatch Talk, where I
designed the first watch phone, right, in the world.
The world's first watch phone, yeah. It doesn't mean the world's first wrist phone, because Swatch was very clear.
Okay.
Swatch wanted the product to be first a watch and then a phone, but of course being seamlessly integrated. And in this project was very challenging, working very closely with the engineers to refine and augment the packaging, to make it easily wearable, ergonomic, to be perceived as being even smaller than it was. I worked on the interface, the integrated antenna, which flips up from the wristband, as you can see, and a very kind of fun and functional behavioral interaction design for dialing and texting. This was done in 98, 99, leading to 2000. Unfortunately, they made 1,000 or 10,000 working pre-production products, but Swatch was never able to come to a commercial agreement with the carriers, the big Vodafone cell phone carriers in the world, because they wanted the product carried in their stores. Swatch wanted to control the whole retail experience and offer it only in their store. In those days, the network carriers were very powerful. So unfortunately, the commercial agreement, the marketing agreement was never arrived. And then, of course, the technology became outmoded, because then the digital generation of cell phones came in. But the interesting thing about this experience, with my first experience working in cell phone technology with Swatch, overlapped with the phone call that I got from a headhunter looking for a new European design director for Motorola. I was European design director for 3 years, from 99 through 2002. And one of the iconic projects to come out of that was, at this time when it was introduced to the market in 2001, the world's smallest cell phone, also one of the first phones to be out of aluminum. The outer case was in aluminum. And of course, again, this idea of the design of the gesture. Yeah. This rotating object.
This is one of the most iconic, before you pass through these wearable technologies, this is one of the most iconic designs in mobile phone history, I can say. One of them is the Nokia's, this, flipping downwards. It's, I think, 9110, something like that. I don't remember the number. Yeah, that's using in the Matrix movie. And this one, I think they both are the most iconic ones, because it's just flipping. I mean, it's not flipping, it's just twisting around, and with one hand it's very easy to use. And it was not, I mean, till that time, till Motorola published, manufactured this one, there was no idea of protecting the keyboard so far. And that's why also you fast forward that glasses, those VR glasses, but you designed those in the previous slides. It's like 3 or 4 slides before, I think. One more. Here. What was the year that you designed this one?
This is not VR glasses. I have this. This is like the introduction.
But there was, as far as I remember, when you were in Istanbul, you were talking about the technology that you and Mark was in Germany, and you could in Italy walk, and you could walk together. And it was like 16 years ago when you were talking about it. There was no metaverse. There was.
Yeah, exactly.
But you were designing that kind of technologies when there were no metaverse, even the concept of metaverse.
That's right. Well, I've been interested in wearable technology, since as long as I can remember. Specifically the project you're talking about, I think the one you're talking about, I don't have it in this presentation.
Doesn't matter. I just wanted to mention that you were designing that kind of things when people did not have any notion of metaverse.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. This one is kind of metaverse, this lower right, because this is a kind of a technological jewel, like a chain that you wear. On one end is the earpiece, in the middle is the video cam, like an eye that allows people you're talking with to see what you see. And on the other end is this cube where you see what the person you're talking with sees through their eye. And by moving the cube, you can look around the room where they are, because it remotely controls their video eye. This, I encourage you all to go online. I have a few videos that I published on
This
YouTube.
is also from 2000.
This work was published at the world's biggest cell phone technology fair, CeBIT. It was released to the public in 2001. So
it's 20 years from now.
21 years ago that these projects. And look, this was a very big collaborative team. I just had the privilege of directing the program, but this was I cannot take credit, full credit for this project. It was very complex, but really a lot of really smart people working inside Motorola to realize these. There's a series of video scenarios that I invite you all to look at, called New Life Forms, Motorola New Life Forms. If you want more information, they're very interesting. More recently, in 2016, we were awarded the Compassodoro honorable mention for a startup that I was co-founder with, Plug. Plug made a series of physical and also wireless plugins for the cell phone, for the iPhone, which allows your iPhone to do more things like temperature reading, digital measure the ruler, a small weather station, where I worked with the technology group in creating the entire vision of the products, both the physical products, the apps, the UI, UX experiences, where we developed this design language that was a kind of a hybrid design language between the physical simplicity and the digital identity. This was leading into the object that you said before that looked kind of like a VR goggles. This is another startup that I collaborated with a few years ago, Healbee. Healbee is the only wearable wellness device that has the capability of telling you your calories consumed. Most of these fitness like Fitbit and even Apple Watch measure your activity, your blood pressure, your heartbeat, your calories burned. But this is the only one that has the technology to measure your calories consumed when you eat or drink. And we created their first and second flagship product, the Healbee Gobi, it's called. Meme is another startup that I was involved with for a period of time. Meme is, to say simply, a charger cable for your mobile device, but every time you charge it, every time you plug it in to charge your battery, it has an onboard flash drive memory, and it automatically backs up all your personal data information onto the cable itself. So if you lose your phone, or if it gets damaged or destroyed or lost, the next day you can go get a new phone, plug in your Meme, and upload all of your personal information, your photos, your videos, your contact list, your calendar, etc., and you're good to go. So in addition to the physical device, we also designed the very easy user interface. Recently working with Samsung to help develop their design language for their next generation of mobility products, laptops, tablets, mobile phones, where we did a lot of research into creating a vision for a kind of a reinventing middlecraft in the digital age for the 21st century. So using state-of-the-art digital manufacturing techniques for crafting premium materials like metal and glass to give new expressions rather than focusing on just the form, inspired by what Apple did by reinventing the laptop by carving out of solid aluminum. We wanted to kind of take this materials language story even further. So this is an example where you have a three-dimensional machined steel mesh. It could be steel, it could be aluminum, over-molded with glass, because there's new techniques for injection molding glass. And on the surface, you have this beautiful, refined, honed, smooth finish. but it's also a very tough, lightweight composite material combined with the steel mesh and pure glass. And then as you look at it in the light, you can see that the depth changes, going from the polished metal highlights on the surface. And then as you look at it in the light, you can see the depth of this three-dimensional mesh. Also working with LG for many years, we collaborated primarily on their home air conditioner lines. This is just one very small example. LG is the world's biggest manufacturer of home air conditioners, wall air conditioners. This example we called cool curtain, which it unrolls like a blind, like a curtain, but then the cool air is blown in between these stitched channels, and then as soon as it inflates, the cool air smoothly kind of diffuses into the room. We also have integrated technical switches and controls woven into the high-tech fabric, as you can see in the detail. Also, interaction design, UI, UX, experience design. Here's a concept for a home comfort and convenience interface for controlling everything about the home environment, the lighting, the air conditioning, etc. But it has two kind of main paradigms of functionality. You can walk in and just hit the wall like you do instinctively when you walk into the room to throw on a light switch. So it has these big gesture responsiveness. But then when you want to do fine programming or fine adjustment of the environment, you can simply take it off its magnetic recharging base and use it as a kind of a slim smartphone interface. By the way, this idea was developed before iPhone was launched and before the multi-touch interface was invented. Yeah.
Wow.
So now we're moving into the second half. I'm sorry if I'm going a little bit quickly, but I wanted to get to a kind of a next phase of my work. In 2015-16, we were selected as one of 5 studios internationally to participate on the behalf of Leonardo Helicopter Division, where they're developing the world's first vertical takeoff and landing next generation aircraft that not only will be available for military or search and rescue or these kind of things, but also available for civilian use. So for rock stars, hip hop stars, Hollywood moguls, Arab billionaires. I was going to say Russian billionaires, but we don't know now. Formula One pilots, etc. So as you can see, using they're the number 2 or number 3 biggest helicopter company in the world, part of Leonardo Group. And it's a plane with fixed wings that looks like a small Gulfstream jet, let's say. And the engine pods at the end of the wings rotate 90 degrees, so it can take off and land like a helicopter. But as it gains speed and altitude, the engine pods rotate forward, and then it goes above the jet stream with a pressurized cabin. So it can go more than 2 times faster than the fastest helicopter. So and also above the jet stream, so you don't have the turbulence and succumb to difficult air conditions below. So you have all the advantages of point-to-point transportation as a helicopter, but in the speed and security and comfort of a high-speed turboprop plane. Sorry. Yeah. I'm going to show you, the reason I'm going to show you this project, which we called our project Heli-X. The project was to design the civilian use because this will be the first VTOL aircraft classified by the Federal Aviation Administration for use by civilians. Because up until now, high-performance VTOLs, high-performance ones, are used only by the military. So the challenge was to design the interior. Primarily was the interior design, but also the exterior graphics or livery.
For the audience, for the attendees, VTOL is like vertical transportation.
Vertical takeoff,
landing. Yeah, okay.
VTOL, vertical takeoff or landing. It should be VTOL, but it's O, VTOL.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I will show you, it's a
VTOLs.
5-minute, sorry?
Also, there are some eVTOLs working right now, probably
Yeah,
because
well,
how much it.
this project actually has been developed inside Leonardo for over 15 years.
15
Recently,
years.
there's a lot of work in, because of the advances in electric motors and in battery technology, the compact motors and a long-range, powerful battery technology. There's a lot of work going on these days in
eVTOLs.
eVTOLs for like air taxis, let's say.
But does it
But
generate the same power as fuel generated?
but no, this is a different class of vehicle. This is high performance, long range.
Okay.
It's a completely different.
Okay.
The eVTOLs are very short range, like urban centers kind of transportation. Let me show you a 5-minute video that explains the project. I think it's.
Yes, please.
I hope you can hear my speaker.
Let's see.
Active skin. The foundation of the interior design is a system of modular surface tiles combining luxurious finishings with advanced functions. There are 5 types of tile modules seamlessly integrated into the walls. The unified tiles create a subtle yet dynamic continuous surface texture inspired by the twisting double helix, a core theme of the overall design reflecting the advanced twin-phase multi-directional capabilities of the AW609 aircraft itself. Active windows. The centerpiece of the interior is the seamless wraparound window system that creates an atmosphere of roominess, transparency, and connection with the outside. The 3-layered system starts with thin, flexible OLED panels using daylight spectrum filters. The active matrix illumination is fully interactive to digital inputs. A series of miniature video cameras mounted on the exterior surface of the fuselage provide input for changing natural light in real time. The final effect is of a real continuous wraparound window. Diffused natural daylight penetrates the cabin throughout, constantly adjusting to changing light directions and external conditions, thus creating a feeling of spaciousness and an immediate connection to the environment, augmenting the dynamic flying experience. Active skylight. The active windows are complemented by the recessed active skylight. A network of hidden short-throw pico projectors are wired to roof-mounted video cameras, displaying real-time views from above the aircraft onto the cabin ceiling. Soft structures. The soft structure seating platforms appear to be suspended from the floors and walls, emphasizing the light, open, airy feeling of the cabin. The curved, flowing design of the soft structures create distinct shared seating zones, augmenting the social dynamic and communal flying experience. The primary soft structure at the rear of the cabin creates a spacious yet intimate seating zone connecting 4 chairs in a flowing wraparound booth-like arrangement. Forward in the cabin is a second wraparound soft structure connecting 2 facing seats, also with fully integrated services and functions. Mini lounge. Complementing the forward seating area across the aisle is a full-featured minibar and separate jump seat, together creating the 3-seat mini lounge. The sleek, compact minibar features a removable work surface that folds to reveal a sink with hot and cold running water and a large slide-out trolley with carefully designed holders for full sets of flutes, tumblers, and wine glasses. Lavatory. When needed, the mini lounge jump seat flips up to reveal a hidden toilet. The double-action cockpit door rotates and slides to close against the frame of the glass divider panel. Once the bathroom door is locked, the transparent panel becomes opaque utilizing LCD smart glass technology. Livery and graphic identity. The ever-present double helix spiral throughout the cabin is a continuous reminder of the unique advanced twin-phase capabilities of the AW609 aircraft. In keeping with the theme of transparency, this motif becomes the iconic signature element of the holistic design, not only for the interior, but also for the exterior design of the livery and the graphic identity of this revolutionary new breed of aircraft. Summary. The overall design emphasizes conscientious comfort, transparency, lightness, and efficiency. Based on science fact, not fiction, It combines forward-thinking, advanced materials, and digital technologies to establish a new paradigm in personal luxury aviation, a symbol for a gentleman's concept of luxury for the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Heli X by Augusta Westland.
So one of the reasons, thank you. One of the reasons that I wanted to show that project, which we won the competition. I mentioned we were one of 5 studios, international studios, hand selected to participate in the competition. We won that competition.
Congratulations.
And then after it was published in 2016 timeframe, it caught the attention of the next client I want to discuss, CL Yachts, which is a shipyard building premium luxury yachts. At the time, the parent company, Choi Lee Shipyards, was reconsidering the direction for the product lineup, the yacht design, the design definition of the products, a lot of aspects having to do with their brand. And what I didn't know, that there was this kind of soul searching going on inside the group when their director of product development proposed to me, opened up a conversation during meetings that we were, when we met in Hong Kong. Over the last 20 years, I've done a lot of work in Asia, especially more recently, 10, 15 years in China. And I always try to stop in Hong Kong because I really love the energy of Hong Kong and meeting people. And I was reacquainted with Martin Lowe, who's the director of product development at Choi Lee Shipyards. He and I had known each other from a long time ago. But then we got reacquainted and he opened up this conversation. And what began as a high-level conversations about the future of yacht design, but also kind of at a higher level, yachting experiences, evolved into a project where going back to this map that I showed you at the beginning, I proposed that we do a kind of a research and analysis and kind of discovery process, analyzing their company, their strengths, weaknesses, challenges and opportunity, their culture and the market opportunities, and redefine their core vision and values and build up from there. And he was very open to this approach. So he commissioned this kind of research and analysis, which started by the discovery that they're very much a product first company, where they used to have a strong tradition and recognition for gutsy innovation, safety and seaworthiness, leadership in the design of yachts. And then we came up with later this idea of uncharted luxury. So this was this first step that I worked with the company to guide them through this research and analysis, looking for innovation opportunities all around this innovation compass, focusing on their heritage of innovation. What are their traditional values? What are the values that become less important moving forward? What are the values that become more important moving forward? And also, what are some of the new values that we want to respond to in terms of the future vision of the next 10 or 50 years of yachting and yachting experiences? This is just part of a very big research that we did for them. You can see here, we're talking about 5 years ago, February, March 2017. where their core competencies were at the time and where they want to be in the future, with innovation and design being very strong focus, their brand values, how they were recognized at the time and how they want to be recognized into the future. And also, since design needed to be a big part of the story, what kind of design, how should design values speak to their products and speak to the market? In short, this is a map showing that if you compare it to automotive, they were kind of in this space somewhere in between performance and utility, closer to utility side, and not the highest of luxury ends, but more towards the center of the market. And where we wanted to take them is to be compared in automotive terms to maybe Audi or BMW in terms of the combination of luxury and performance. So after we did this first period, then we decided the next step, being a product first company, is we need to focus on the product roadmap. Step one of the, well, this is step two in the overall process, but the part A was to come to the market with a more evolutionary product, new design for a yacht that gave the type of experiences that we're talking about, but wasn't such a huge leap that would be unrecognizable to the market for those people that were familiar with the shipyard. Step two, then, afterwards, we could come up with a more revolutionary product as we guide the market, kind of educate the market of what to expect from the brand. Mm-hmm. And then step three, this was a little bit, let's say, not planned, but because of all the innovation that we were pushing together on creating the new generation of products, it came back around where very organically we got to the point where we had to reconsider the brand itself. The fact is that Choi Lee Shipyards, in addition to being an important producer of private luxury yachts, they're also one of the most important producers of commercial ships and workboats. For example, they're the number 2 or 3 biggest producer of tugboats in the world. They make cruise ships for bringing equipment and crew to oil platforms, large passenger ferries carrying hundreds of passengers. They're working with steel hulls, aluminum hulls, full carbon fiber hulls for their passenger ferry catamarans, etc. So we realized there, in branding terms, in terms of communicating to the market, there needed to be a clear distinction between Choi Lee Shipyards and which is the commercial brand, and the private luxury brand. So the decision was made to create an entire new brand called CL Yachts. And so this is what I mean when I talk about designing the entire company from the products to the brand. So this is a big job. We work with them to come up with the name. CL Yachts is very international in flavor. It doesn't say made in Asia, but at the same time, it also doesn't turn its back to people who know about the provenance of Choi Lee Shipyard, CL. We chose a palette beginning with the orange, which is very bright, energetic, youthful, and also a very unusual color to have in the marine industry, where normally you see blues and grays and gold. Right. We created not just the naming, but the entire visual branding identity, everything from the business cards, website, brochures, all the collaterals. The advertising program, we created a visually unique, identifiable visual system, which also can be flexible across different formats. And the new architecture of the stand, including custom-made, custom-designed furniture at the stand, and the outfits of the personnel hosting, the hosts, and also the salespeople, etc. And also, the gear, the swag, the collaterals in terms of bags, hats, uniforms, these kind of things. Focusing more on the products, this was a slide that I showed them as part of the analysis, which I call the 300-meter test. Yacht owners like to compare each other. There's a lot of yacht spotting, people looking from afar across the marina and what boats different people have. And I showed this slide clumping together the main competitors at the time, and to demonstrate that it was very difficult to distinguish boats from afar. They all, a lot of them shared very common profiles or common design languages. And of course, this speaks to not having a clear, distinctive offer in the market. So in the story of creating a new design language, you also have to consider what does it communicate inherently, instinctually about the product itself. We're also doing the job of designing the exterior, but also the interior. And we created a new vision of the kind of feelings and emotions that we wanted people to experience on the products. This idea of open spaces, of floating loft, being close to nature, but also the idea that you're being transported not only through space, but also through time into the future. And design language also means not just the overall shape and gesture of the boat as it's sitting on the water across the marina, but also as you zoom in, unique iconic design elements and details, the language of the interior spaces, where I'm focusing a lot on traditional noble materials, wood, leather, fine fabrics, but also high-tech materials, carbon fiber, Corian, Phoenix NTX, which is a nanotechnology material, and also developing a custom line of furniture on board. So the first product, like I said, step 2 in this comprehensive strategic program, but this is the evolutionary product, the 88 flybridge motor yacht called CLB 88. This was brought to the market just over a year ago, presented in Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. And we call this the classic motor yacht reimagined. And I have some short videos to show you. This is why I've been rushing to this point to try to illustrate to you some of this work.
How many minutes are those videos?
This one is short, and then I have another short one to show you after.
Okay.
I also have some longer videos to show you if there was time, but I maybe
now we have only 3 or 4 more minutes left. It's okay.
And we came up with this tag, Uncharted Luxury. Yeah, so that's the CLB 88. Actually, I'm here in Florida because on Sunday, last week up until Sunday was the Palm Beach International Boat Show, where I was able, the last month was Miami Yacht Show, and this month was Palm Beach Boat Show, and I was able to ride down with the crew from Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale.
Really? Oh, yeah, here you are.
So this was just yesterday.
Lucky
actually.
you.
This was just yesterday, actually, me on the boat in front of my baby. This was me in the master suite. So it's an amazing experience being on such an object, you know, for someone who kind of started their career designing watches and cell phones, to be designing a 29-meter yacht is an incredible experience. And actually, that's the second iconic or important kind of strategic product to come to the market. is, as I mentioned before, the first step, the CLB88 is by definition the evolutionary product. The next one, we all by self-definition, is the more revolutionary product. The 96-foot motor yacht Explorer. It's a kind of a hybrid Explorer performance luxury. We call it the SAV, the Sea Activity Vessel. The product name is CLX96, which is the 96-foot boat. And this actually is the hull number one is being finished up as we speak in Hong Kong. There was the sea trials just about a month and a half ago, very successful. And so I have some visuals for you to show you. This is a three-dimensional kind of virtual tour of the boat. So I think you can kind of get the idea that when the owners look at this boat on the water, it will definitely strike a unique profile in the 300-meter test. So
Exactly.
sailing into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph, for sharing your experience. And also it gave us a wide scope of also design approach, not only your designs, but the way that you approach to a brand or to a concept. And as you lectured, thank you very much for your time. And I hope to see you face to face sometime in the close future. Even though I do not have good experiences with you, I remember that disastrous night when we were in Taksim, we were drinking rakı with you, and I was with my wife. You were single those days, and there were more than 20 girls around you asking for your autograph, trying to make selfies with you, trying to, dance with you and having your attention. So it was not a good night for me, and hope we don't repeat those nights, but I seriously want to see you back in Istanbul, who knows when and who knows how, but somehow wish to see you here again.
Thank you. Good memories. I mean, I don't know if I appreciate everybody's attention. I hope I didn't go too fast. I know there was a lot of information, but I'm also, maybe there's a couple minutes. It's up to you, Osman, if anybody has questions or comments.
There are some questions that I received from WhatsApp as I check my phone. I have more than 5 questions, but since we do not have time and you do not have time, you have to check out the hotel. So let's keep the questions and answers to another session maybe in the last quarter of this year, maybe we meet again, if you have time, of course. We would appreciate it. I mean, I would be more than happy. And in the name of the editorial board, I would like to thank you again and wish you success and have an easy flight. And thank you for your time again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for your attention.
Okay.
Please come and see us if you're ever in Milan.
We would love to. We would love to. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe an occasion appears, and with this magazine, we will all be there in Milan, and you will regret this offer. Okay, folks. Thank you very much. That was all for tonight. See you next week, next Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye.